Today we're discussing a new update that Activision's dropped regarding early access for Black Ops 6 as well as the launch date and times for each platform. As I'm sure you're aware, this year Activision are not offering an early access for campaign, but campaign, multiplayer and zombies will all launch with the full game on October 25th. And with that launch date fast approaching, Activision has finally revealed exactly when you can start preloading the game and when you can start playing the game. And on certain platforms, you could be playing the game between 12 and 18 hours early depending on where you live. So let's first talk about exactly when you can preload Black Ops 6 if you've already pre-ordered digitally. If you've pre-ordered Black Ops 6 on Battle.net, you will already be able to preload the game ahead of its launch next week. If you go over to your Call of Duty, modify install and look at the installation, you'll see that Black Ops 6 along with campaign and multiplayer packs can be preloaded already. This is around 80 gigabytes in total, and once downloaded, you are all set to go. For every other platform, which is Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, and the PC Microsoft Store, all of those platforms will have preload beginning on October the 21st, starting at 9 AM Pacific time, which is 12 PM Eastern time and 5 PM in the UK. If you're in a time zone that I haven't mentioned, just convert that time to wherever you're in on Google. This preload will contain the full game, campaign, multiplayer, and zombies, so you're ready to play right at launch. But it gets interesting when it comes to the rollout on when you'll actually be able to play the game on launch depending on your platform. And yes, this does mean that there is a chance that you can play the game ahead of the midnight release in your country depending on your platform. So let's break it down and make it as clear as possible for you so you can understand when you can start playing Black Ops 6. For players who have preloaded on Xbox, PlayStation, and the PC Microsoft Store specifically, the game will be rolling out regionally on October 24th between 4 AM Pacific time and 11 PM Pacific time. Now, this is all based on the country and region that you are in the world right now. So with this 4 AM Pacific time that's shown, that is equivalent to 7 AM Eastern and 12 PM UK. Whichever time zone you are in, that is reflective of midnight local time in New Zealand, where the game will first be available. Now, it's no secret that over the last few years of Call of Duty releases, some people have been taking trips to New Zealand so that they can play and stream the game a little early ahead of its launch, which is technically classed as early access depending on where you live, which is anywhere from 12 to 18 hours of early access from when the game would actually release in your country. Now, when I say your favorite content creators and streamers take trips to New Zealand every year, I'm sure you can read between the lines because there is a trick that you can do to make either your Xbox or your PlayStation think you're in New Zealand and let you play Black Ops 6 early. Now, I want to make it very clear that I'm not advocating you do this, just in the potential possibility that Activision see this as something which could potentially get your account banned. Regardless of my own personal opinion, that doesn't matter because at the end of the day, Activision can do whatever they want. But this is a method that has worked for the last 2 years, and as far as I'm aware, there is absolutely no issue with it. But I won't dive into the specifics in this video on exactly how it works. I'm sure you'll be able to find an abundance of information if you go ahead and do a quick Google search. But if you are playing Black Ops 6 on Xbox this year, then the quote-unquote New Zealand trick should work for you on Xbox. And again, a simple Google search on how that Xbox New Zealand trick works should bring up a ton of info. Now, again, I can't promise you this method is going to work. Anything could change this year compared to previous years. This method has been a thing for the last few years. It seemed to have always worked, but unfortunately, this trick does not work if you're on PlayStation. If you've already pre-ordered the game, you will simply just have to wait until midnight local your time, as the console will not unlock the packages needed to actually load and play the game until midnight local time. Now, beyond console, there is actually the potential of playing the game 12 to 18 hours early on PC, and that is via the PC Microsoft Store, as Call of Duty have stated that the game will begin rolling out with the same midnight region rollout over on PC if you've pre-ordered the game through the PC Microsoft Store. Now, if you are a member of Xbox Game Pass, you'll be able to preload and then start playing the game on PC through the Microsoft Store starting as early as then, but I think you're going to have to change the region on the PC Microsoft Store and again change your address on your Activision ID. Since the Call of Duty has never released for the first time early on PC before, it's still a little bit unknown exactly how playing early on that's going to work, as I don't think anyone watching this video video that even plays COD on PC has ever bought a COD game from the PC Microsoft Store before. But if you've bought the game on Battle.net and Steam, then unfortunately there is no way for you to play the game early. You are going to have to wait until the same time worldwide. Call of Duty have given this really useful launch time map that shows no matter where you live in the world, these are the times that it's going to launch at the exact same time on Battle.net and Steam, which is 9 p.m. if you live on the West Coast, midnight if you live on the East Coast, and 5 a.m. if you live in the UK. This has always been the way that most of the PC launches has been for Call of Duty over the last few years, where regardless of it being already out on console, it is just not out until a specific time worldwide globally at the same time. Beyond everything mentioned, there is no way to play Black Ops 6 any earlier than those times. If for some reason someone you know gets a physical copy of Black Ops 6, they will still not be able to play any part of it until the times mentioned, because these content packs will not actually launch and be available to be used until those respective times on those consoles. The game is also online only this year, so going forwards, even if people are able to get their hands on early disc copies, the disc itself will not contain any real files beyond just a license key that proves you own the game, as that disc would just start the main game download for COD HQ, adding Black Ops 6 to it. That means no one will be able to play zombies, no one will be able to play multiplayer, and no one will be able to play campaign either, because for the first time, the campaign is now always online as well. The entire game is, so there'll be no way that anyone will be able to play anything earlier than the times mentioned, which hopefully means that nothing will be spoiled or data mined or ruined either via people getting the game early. So thankfully, the way that they've set it up this year, and they have done for the last few years, is that it is near impossible for anything to leak out from the full game. When it comes to the preloads here on console and PC, these are encrypted and physically impossible for anyone to actually boot up the game, because there are necessary files missing, as well as there being the crucial main updates from COD HQ that will actually accept these packs and have them visible and playable. So until that first time rolls around when the game launches in New Zealand, there will be no physical way for Black Ops 6 to be playable at any point before that New Zealand time. As of now, we still don't know exactly how big the preload is going to be on all platforms. We know it's around 80 gig on Battle.net, but we have the official PC system requirements, which also at the bottom has how much storage space you should have, which is an SSD with 102 gigabytes available space at launch, meaning that the game is going to be around 100 gigabytes. Along with all of the PC announcements, we also got a PC trailer that showcases some new footage of the game ahead of release, including some new campaign bits, some multiplayer, and we get literally a second of new zombies footage, which takes place on the Terminus map, where we get to see a potentially new look at a zombie type. It kind of looks like one of those big bloated grotesque zombies that we saw from the initial reveal of zombies. He has some very sharp looking teeth, and if we compare this to what those look like from the initial reveal, there seems to be a different variant of that, and boy, this zombie, he is thick and has to be the closest thing that I've ever seen to a boomer within Call of Duty Zombies. But this isn't the big grand reveal of Liberty Falls' mood and atmosphere changes, as well as the HUD changes. Assumingly is still coming, potentially could be this week, could be next week, I'm not too sure. Whenever that does roll around though, I'll be updating you guys immediately here on the channel, so be sure to drop a thumbs up, subscribe with the bell so you don't miss out. The moment that drops, it will be covered here on the channel, so you can get the first looks at what has changed.